Welcome to the Liberal Buzz Show. My name is Denise Dorey, and my guest today is going to be Brent Turner. He's from the National Voting, navo-us.org. And he, last show we were talking about how he worked with the former CIA director James Woolsey to eliminate the systems that are run on proprietary software, which is Microsoft. A lot of our politicians take money from Microsoft, and Microsoft pretty much has been running rampant with impunity. Actually, with our voting system, that might be the reason why we're hacked into. So, see, the software can't be remain private and secret. We know that from national security, like, I don't know, NASA and the Department of Defense, the Air Force, and the election system software must be open source. So that's what. Now there's Senator James Lankford, and co-sponsored by Senator Kamala Harris, this Secure Elections Act. It's a bill. It's deficient in its failure to address the software code issues. So that was a problem, and so. Brent has been fighting for the proprietary software to educate the lawmakers about our insecure Microsoft systems, you know, while they're taking money from him. So he's got an uphill battle, and I have to give him credit. There he is with Adam Schiff. So, see, we even had we went to NBC, and NBC carried the story about open source software, and you know there was a big uproar about the elections, and they turned it into a commercial about Microsoft protecting the elections instead of how they're making them insecure. So that was, you know, even the reporting in the media has been kind of lacking. So. And Secretary of State Alex Padilla, you know, he pushed to buy more systems that were vulnerable to hacking as well. So the techies, you know, I don't know where they stand on this. We'll find out, because the Department of Technology is supposed to be doing this open source software that we'll be talking about soon when Brent calls. So to get open source in San Francisco is like 11.5 million in 2007, and we can develop it here for use elsewhere. You know, like we said, you know, for elections, we already have it for other agencies, security agencies, national security, and so yeah. But that Kamala Harris bill just fell short. Now, I don't know if she takes money from Microsoft. That's a good, that question just popped into my mind. Yeah, somebody ask her. Let me know what she says. Okay. And let's see. Brent's supposed to call at 6:49. Let me call him. Let's get him on the air. Hey, Brent, it's Denise.
Hi, are we ready right now?
Yeah, I've got you on the air on my speakerphone. Yeah, I just.
Oh, great! I'm on the air right now.
Yes, I just did an intro and about what we've been doing in the past with Kamala Harris's bill falling short, and about I was doing an intro about where we were last time with Woolsey, and then I talked about how Kamala Harris's bill fell short for open source voting software.
Yeah, well, you know, we can't blame it all on Kamala, because everybody's involved in that bill, that HR 1, if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So basically, the whole team got fooled on that, and maybe we could talk about that first, and then I'll tell you about that Google event that I went to.
Yeah, I've got that.
But anyway, and I'm sorry that I'm rushed. I'm going into a Kimberly Ellis event in Pacifica where she's running for chair of the Democratic Party for California. But anyway, HR 1, in the opinion of the election reform community, is deficient in that it omits conversation regarding software. It talks about paper ballots and it talks about audits, but it leaves the software part out of the conversation, out of the bill. So we screamed about that to everyone, up and down the line, from Sarbanes to Pelosi to Schumer to everyone. And very difficult to overcome the block that we know is in place that does not want open source software language discussed in the bill and mentioned in the bill. And that block is coming from a group called Verified Voting working at the direction of Microsoft. So since Microsoft doesn't like open source as a general business concept, obviously, because open source is free and public, we have this block to getting this into the legislation, and that makes the bill deficient to the point of being a real threat to the national security, because what we think it will do is put more effort into the thought of buying these bad voting machines that have a paper trail, either a ballot or a voter verified paper audit trail, and then they keep talking about audits in the legislation. Well, we know audits are good, and paper ballots and trails are good. Not really so much the trails, but the ballots are good. But without the software, you're still very vulnerable, extremely vulnerable regarding the counting of the ballots. The first count is not protected under this piece of legislation, and they're relying on disinformation in putting this bill together. So that's the HR 1 story, and we've yelled to everybody who will listen that this is a business scam that has occurred on Capitol Hill. Yeah. It started out just a business scam, but now it's morphed into a national security scam. So everybody better get their staffers and everybody together to go with the science, because right now they're denying the science.
Okay, and plus, even if they do have the open source, what are they going to do? Take millions of dollars to copy and paste and pretend it's open source?
Well, when somebody starts moving in the direction of open source, at least that is a step. Now, making sure that they're really following through and that everything is proper, there is a large community that pays attention, and but the job never ends, because the gamers will call themselves open source or pretend to be for it, and then fool you again, like Lucy with the football. It's a setup. And that brings me to speaking about the Google event I went to yesterday, where the people I mentioned that have been blocking open source software on Capitol Hill, verified voting at the direction of Microsoft, all their henchmen were at this event speaking as election reform experts, And the fact is, they're there selling voting machines. And so Padilla was there telling everybody, buy the new machines, even though they're the same as the old machines.
Yeah.
Just buy them anyway. And, it's a love fest of money exchange. So, they tried to keep me quiet, but that didn't work out too well. And so there was a bit of an uproar, in the crowd, because I'm not going to stand by and watch the con job of these voting machine vendors propping up pretend activists that would a real election reform activist would never say buy insecure voting machines. I mean, just the thought of it is laughable.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, what about, didn't Malia Cohen guarantee some money, and didn't some money go through the Department of Technology to develop this open source software to go in the new machines?
That's correct. That is the answer to everybody's problem, is just follow what San Francisco is doing. Malia Cohen hit it on the head, and London Breed is for it, and the supervisors. The only person that may be in question is John Arntz, the Department of Elections. He's been a foot dragger on it, but we think now that the Department of Technology is involved, we should have a path to completing a system, getting it certified, and then we'll be able to share that with the rest of the country, which is really, crucial, because we want to make sure Georgia is utilizing proper equipment and not hiding underneath corporate-owned software.
Oh, yeah, I have a uniform software implementation where they implement.
So that's the story, and I thank you for having me on. And again, Denise, thanks for the great work you've done. You've been documenting this story for many, many years, and of course, people didn't really realize how crucial it was to democracy to get that very tightly secured vote count. But now I think everybody's aware that this is the number one civil rights issue of our time.
Yeah, well, I mean, can we improve our system without needing vendor permission?
Well,
in San Francisco?
we're not asking. We don't need vendor permission. We just need to have that moment where everybody stands up and puts the country's interests ahead of the vendors. So, the vendors don't control unless you let them. And I think there's enough brave souls uniquely in San Francisco, in particular in San Francisco, to lead the rest of the state and country. But thank goodness for San Francisco, because we couldn't find the leadership anywhere, and believe me, we looked everywhere.
Yeah, and well, see, the station we're broadcasting on right now, Bay Area Video Coalition, is actually a branch of the Department of Technology in the basement of City Hall and over on 25 Van Ness Street. So
how ironic.
South Van Ness. It is rather ironic. Yeah, I thought you would think that was cute.
I really enjoy that, and thanks again for all you do. And with that, I'll look forward to getting with you next time for another report.
All right, thanks for everything you do as well. Cheers.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Well, that was great. So we've got about 7 minutes left, 6 minutes, and I wanted to finish telling you about the rest of this, because there was a Jim Crow voter alert, and let's see, the neighborhood polling places were being consolidated into mega voting centers, and what was funny was I was purged off the voter rolls. Yes, I was. I was purged off the voter rolls, and not only that, but a bunch of my neighbors were as well. We were standing there cussing out the people at the precinct. Well, first I'm standing in line, and a bunch of people ahead of me were cussing at people out at the precinct. And I'm thinking, what happened? What's happening here? Folks are not happy. So I get up there, And they said, I show them my ID, even though I don't have to. I said, my name's Denise Dorey. Look me up. I've been voting here since, in the same precinct since 2005, 2004. Quite a while. Couldn't find me on the rolls. Couldn't find my friends ahead of me in line on the rolls either. So I'm just blown away by it all. And that's what I'm saying, that somebody, oh. Call my phone. Oh, I've got a caller. I told him to call my phone. I think it's someone I know. It's gonna ring. He's gonna ring me up. And so let's see. I mean, if we behaved like the government, we'd be arrested, right? Okay, here we go. Get into it. I didn't know. I thought Brent was going to have a little more time, so I'm going to get to this. Yeah, they are. Yeah, yeah, Russia.
Tell the public how the Russians have hacked.
Oh, you're on speakerphone. You're a guest on the show now, so yeah, the speakerphone. Yes, they can hear you. I wanted them to hear you.
Okay, well, the Russians have pulled the same tricks in Europe, and as far as I'm concerned, they're pulling the same tricks all over the world. All right, so tell them about it. Bye.
Yeah, G. Thanks, G. No, there's only about 2 minutes left. But I just want to tell you, you know, there's a lot going on with backdoor suppression, front door suppression. The front door suppression is when they just take you off the voter rolls, you know. They hack the voter rolls, and I don't know how that, but my suspicion is that when they hacked Hillary's emails, my name was in Hillary's email because I'm one of her. I'm a Democrat, and the Democratic Party has my name and all Democrats' names registered in their emails so that they can work to campaign, right? So that's what happened. That's the Russians hacked into the voter rolls out of the emails, and that's how the people that looked like they were probably going to vote for Hillary, which I'm one of them, or the Democrats were purged off the voter rolls. So I went to City Hall cussing all the way. I was cussing the whole way there. Yeah, I was blown away. And I went and voted in the basement, but I had to fill out a provisional ballot, which probably wasn't counted anyway. I might as well not bother, right? So that's what happened. And I wasn't the only one that happened to. Just a bunch of us were purged off the rolls, and that probably made a huge difference. And who knows, that might not happen again. Are you sure? I'm just saying. Before I go, I want to remind you, I thank you for watching, and buy a street sheet, $2, small price to pay for good journalism. And I'm going to watch Psychic Frank's show Saturday night. It replays on channel 29 Saturday night. And I thank you for watching.
And their fingers in spinning like a file. Someone with the access and the power lead to an end in turn. Secrets you can't hide, fortified, or so you're thinking. One mistake, and your world comes crashing downwards. Hey, hey, who's watching? Hey, hey, who's watching? Your defenses have come under fire. Hey, hey, who's watching? Hey, hey, who's watching? Your defenses have been nullified. Silent soldiers of a secret war, locked in battle. Silent soldiers of a secret war, locked in battle. Silent soldiers of a secret war, locked in battle. Sacred war.
Devil play you! How did you get up here? Show yourself! That is unnecessary, but never fear.